had a question on Facebook from Tangi, and the question was, how do we address a lazy horse that you have to use too much leg and basically beg them to go forward? So one drill that you can do that will help with that, we have one of our more fleshier horses to demonstrate that today. But mainly the bottom line with getting them to move freer is your cruise control on that horse is broken. It's not working because could be from how they were started, maybe rider error, and just asking too much with your legs. So, and it's a very common problem to have this. And what we do as people is a lot of times we'll put a band-aid on a problem that we have. So if I have a horse that's lazier, rather than getting them to move out forward on their own, I'll ride with more leg to compensate for that. And that's really what you don't want to do, because you will always have to ride with that amount of pressure. So one way to work on that is, number one, put your hand down and don't even worry about the guiding. Just focus on going forward, because when we start horses, that's the main thing we're going to do, is we're going to put them going forward and get them to where they move out freely on their own, and we can speed them up without having to ask for much. If you don't do that, then a lot of times you'll get a horse that's constantly coming back to you and not moving out on their own, and you have to beg them with your feet, like the problem with the question that we had. So what we can do is a little drill that I call cruise mode. We just basically put our hands down, put them at a trot, see where they want to go, okay? And this horse is probably going to suck to the gate more, but I'm going to put my hand down, not guide at all, and I'm just going to work on forward momentum, okay? So I'm going to try to not run over my camera girl. So I'm going to put my hand down. I might guide every now and then. What you'll notice with this horse is this horse bends around a lot and turns on its own, okay? So anytime this horse bends, I just ask more with my legs, okay? But in cruise mode, I don't use my legs to keep them going. You can see my legs are off this horse. My calves are off this horse. I'm not touching this horse with my legs at all, okay? So it's pretty good. At a slow trot, this horse isn't too bad to move forward on its own, okay? But the moment it goes to slow down, I bump, and ask the horse to speed up, okay? But I don't use a lot of pressure, okay? I start light with a squeeze, and then I go to bumping if they don't speed up. And don't worry about where their feet go, okay? Just worry about forward. That's all I want. Okay, I'm gonna guide a little bit to keep it closer to the camera here, okay? But I keep my feet off. You can see my feet aren't moving, okay? If this horse goes to turn, all I'm gonna do is bump it to get it to go a straight line. Scare the sheep a little bit. So if he turns on his own, I'm just going to add pressure and send him forward, because I want him thinking he needs to move freely going forward without any pressure here. So anytime I add pressure with my legs, there needs to be a speed up. That's the main thing that you need to focus on with this drill. When I add pressure, there needs to be a speed up, and that's any amount of pressure. So I'll squeeze with my calves here, and that horse speeds up, okay? I'm not using any spur. All I'm doing is squeezing with my calves, okay, to get this horse to speed up. If I take my legs off, he should come back to a regular trot, not a walk. If he was to come back to a walk, then I bump him back to a trot and take my legs back off to that off position, okay? So I'm just working on my forward momentum. I leave my hand down. I don't care where he zigs and zags all over this pen. I just want him to go forward. Okay, so anytime I add those calves, you can see here, I'll add them right here to speed him up. If he doesn't speed up, I bump until he speeds up. Okay, see him pin his ears and throw his head up. I didn't even touch his face and he threw his head up. And all that is that's a problem with going forward. He's more resentful about going forward and causes himself to spend more energy by throwing his head up and acting like a turd, rather than just moving his feet. Okay, so I've got to take him out of that by being real sensitive with him. If I can get him moving off my feet with just a light touch, then I won't have as much of those head issues. So I'll do the same thing here. See how he's curving around? So I just bump him till he goes into a straight line here. Okay, so it's straight line. So he's curving again here. I put my calves on. I wait till he goes straight. If he wants to lope, that's okay. What I'll do is if he lopes, I'll just take him the other way. guide him here, put him back at his trot. Okay? Don't even use your clucker on this. You can overuse that too much and sound like a chicken. It's not really helpful with this drill, because the main thing here is this horse, anytime you quit riding, they come off of that pressure. Okay, so I'm just teaching this horse, hey, when I put you on a certain mode, where I click the cruise control button and I push you into a trot, you hold that trot. And the same thing goes for a low, okay? You'll do the exact same thing at a low. So a couple really good things too that will help with that is get them out of the arena. So if they're used to coming in the arena and you pull on them and guide them every which way, then they kind of lose their motivation to move out forward. All right, if all you do is ride in an arena, then that's a really common problem to have. So take them out of the arena, go into a pasture, or even the pasture that they're in, tie the other horses up, and just trot them out in the pasture. Long trot them. Just give them a lot of space to move out. I would suggest wearing them out a little bit before you do that, because they might act silly in the wide open if you don't take them out very often. But that's one thing that can really help, is get them in the pasture and long trot them in the pasture. It seems when you take them outside, they move out a whole lot better. If you're trail riding and there's a dirt path, you know, as long as there's not a bunch of rocks, take them and move them out on the trail too. That'd be really good for them, and just free them up that way. Okay, but the main thing with this is don't beg with your legs. When you put them in cruise mode, you put them in a trot, and then you take those legs off. If they don't move out, bump them till they come back up to a trot, and you may have to get harder and harder. And then once they get to that point, I take my legs back off. And I may have to do this over and over again, but I have to make sure that I'm not constantly pecking at them to go forward. And if I have to, I can get a little crop or a rope. If your horse is good with a rope, you can have a rope. And if you feel like you're using your legs too much, then use the crop or a rope. Put your hand down, okay? And then take that rope, and when you add just a smidge of pressure with your calves, just barely tap them with that crop or that rope, and keep tapping and get harder and harder until you feel that speed up, that movement forward, and then just take the pressure off. Okay, to get them off of something more than just your leg. If you feel like you're really having to kick them to go, then use something like that back here to help send them forward. Okay, because sometimes kicking is not really the best thing to make them go forward, because it might make them round more rather than scoot out. But if you tap them here, they're going to be a lot more encouraged, I guess you could say, to go forward. So I hope that helps. If you guys have any more questions, just post them in the comments.